All right, we're back and we're live. Welcome back to our daily live feed. As you're logging on, if you'd like to come work with me, suitsandposing.com is where you have to go. We do hair, makeup, suits and posing, all the fun stuff when it comes to competing. If you are logging on Instagram, we are live on YouTube and Facebook. And the experience is better on either YouTube or Facebook because you get screen sharing. On Instagram, you don't get that. You just get my voice, my face. So if you go on over to Instagram if you go on over to YouTube or you go on over to Facebook, you'll be able to see all the photos and things like that we share as we move along and talk about the Pittsburgh Pro coming up. Say hi when you log on. What's up, Holly? Comment for me. We always give it a few minutes for everybody to get logged on. And while we're doing that, hello. The QR code in the corner on my screen here. So we're diving right into this week. We sure are, because there's another pro show in California actually too. So if I can get on tomorrow night, because I have to pack up for Pittsburgh and leave early Thursday morning for Pittsburgh. So if I can get on tomorrow night, we'll talk about the other pro show, but we've got a lot to go into for this evening. So we're going to talk about Pittsburgh for tonight. It's a big show weekend. So, but before we get into that, here, Spotify, right here. If you are not following us on Spotify yet, you need to be, okay? Scan that QR code. Make sure that you are following us on Spotify, because if you followed us during the Arnold, then you saw my commentary that I did while at prejudging and finals and things like that for Bikini and for Wellness. We're going to do the same thing for Pittsburgh, and we're also going to do the same thing for New York. So make sure that you're paying attention to Spotify, because basically how this works, I encourage you to get the live stream for each show, okay? Because you'll be able to see everything. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually be there in the audience, okay? I'm going to be there in the audience, and I'm going to be talking about what I see. So if you followed along with the Arnold coverage, that's what I did. I sat there right in the media pit, and I was watching what was going on and telling you what I saw as it happened. So when you get the live stream, you can watch the live stream and then pair it up with my commentary. My commentary goes up directly after prejudging is over. So you do have to go back and actually rewatch it with my commentary. But it makes it sound like, you're actually there and you actually can see what's happening. I give you the first hand view as far as what you're seeing in person versus what you may be seeing on the live stream. For those of you that have never gone to a show in person, it is very, very different when you are there in person versus when you see it on a live stream. So if you've never been to a pro show in person, I really highly encourage you to go, because you will see things that are very, very different. That's why whenever I do my previews and I do my wrap ups of these shows, I always tell you guys, with the caveat of, if I wasn't there in person, this is what I'm seeing through video, this is what I'm seeing through photos, doesn't necessarily mean this is what was happening when it was live, right? The judges have a very, very different view than what we have as spectators online. So again, this is why I encourage you to go. This is why I do go, right? So I try to go to all the major shows every year. So like I said, Arnold, Olympia, Pittsburgh and New York are two top tier shows. I know we don't have tier system anymore, but they still are. We're going to get into that in a second, as well as like Tampa and things like that. There's a reason why I go to those shows, because that's where we're seeing the criteria show up. Okay. So being there in person is completely different. Seeing level of conditioning live at the Olympia versus stream was wild, right? Exactly. Yep. So just always keep that in mind, right? Always keep that in mind, that what you see in pictures and what you see in video is not what is actually happening, right? There's a reason why I go to these shows. There's a reason why I'm there in person, and there's a reason why I like to do the commentary for you guys, because I see things differently there, right? And I'll even say that, like, if I'm watching a video or something like that, it is different than when I'm sitting there live in the audience, okay? Lots of things happen when you're live that you don't see on screen, right? So with that, Pittsburgh is a doozy, you guys. Pittsburgh is a doozy. We're going to talk about wellness first, and then we're going to go into bikini. So wellness is just one day. Wellness is on Friday, and the bikini is on Friday and Saturday. So this is a 2-day show. They're doing NPC on Saturday. They're doing some of the pro divisions on Friday, some of the pro divisions on Saturday, just how they're breaking it up. It's got its pluses and minuses. I've done this show. I go to this show every single year. Regardless, I go to this show every single year, but I've actually competed in this show before. And it was a 2-day show when I competed in it. And I'll be honest, it kind of sucked. I'm honest, it kind of sucked doing 2 days. Because the second day, like, you're not getting rejudged or anything like that, but you still have to do the tan, you still have to do the hair and makeup, you still have to do all of those things. And if you're not in the top 5, which I wasn't, if you're not in the top 5, you're not getting rejudged. So we went out, hit one pose, and walked off. And that was it. So as a pro, it kind of sucked. Gonna be honest, it kind of sucked. But I understand why they're doing it this way. They've done it all is like one day together in the past, and it becomes a very, very long day. It becomes a very, very long day. So it's one of those things like, what do you do? Like, do you make it a really, really long day, or do you split it up into 2 days, which, pick your poison kind of thing. So I think they're doing, bikini and open men together. Well, bikini and the guest posers and stuff like that, the bigger divisions together, the 2 days, because they draw the most fans. I've told you guys this before. Like I said, when I was at the Arnold, the ones that had the biggest lines were the bikini girls. People are forgetting, like, this sport has changed, right? This sport has changed. The landscape of this sport has changed. And these women in bikini are garnering a lot more fans than they ever did before, right? And this is evidenced by how they are actually putting together this particular show, right? Now, before we get into bikini, before we start talking about that, I want to talk about wellness. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm a little bit disappointed in the wellness list. I'm not surprised, because we've been seeing this across the board. We've been seeing this in wellness, but it's a small list. And frankly, it's a weak list. There's like 2 top contenders and then everybody else. So again, this doesn't surprise me. And it's kind of the way of the division right now. So I don't know what else to say about this exactly, because if you look at wellness a couple of years ago, this was like the premier show for wellness. Pittsburgh was, right? Pittsburgh was huge 2 years ago. If you remember, it was a battle between Angela and Urishna. Angela ended up winning it. And then Urishna went on to win New York, I believe, that year. Because Urishna has also won the Boston Pro, but that was last year. So Urishna went on to win New York the following, I think it was the following weekend, 2 weekends later. This year, the 2 shows are back to back, but usually there's a week in between. So Urishna won New York, but it was a battle between her and Angela in Pittsburgh. But there was a ton of wellness pros, because it was really the big kickoff for wellness in the IFBB, right? So this year, let's pull up the list. Well, there we go. I was going to say if my computer's going to work for me. I think this is wellness right here. I think this might be bikini. No, it's wellness. Okay. So this year for wellness, as you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 competitors. We don't even have a top 15 for wellness this year. We have 11 competitors, you guys. I mean, I don't really know what else to say here. This has been the theme across the board. This should be a very, very deep lineup, and it's not. So wellness ladies, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say at this point. It's coming down to, like, we've talked about this a lot. We've talked about this a lot where I think a lot of girls feel like they're not going to have enough size. They feel like they're not going to be conditioned enough in order to do well. But the issue is if that we don't have any new girls coming in. It's better than 3. It's better than 3. But again, this show had like 30 girls in it just 2 years ago, right? Like triple the amount of girls. And that's not an exaggeration, right? So, and again, they were all top Olympia competitors. All of them. They all ended up going to the Olympia. They all ended up placing really well in the Olympia, right? So, we can't get a good sense of criteria or how the judges even would like to shift the criteria if we don't get enough girls to show up and compete. I mean, it's just the bottom line, right? You're going to have a few standouts and then everybody else. So we need to have girls show up. Girls, if you are getting your pro cards, get on the pro stage. The issue is not only the criteria, but the issue is if you guys don't compete, promoters aren't going to pay the sanction fees to have your division. I mean, that's why you see very few female bodybuilding shows. You see very few women's physique shows. You are seeing fewer and fewer figure shows because girls aren't showing up. So it's not making dollars and cents for the promoters to promote those divisions. Okay. So I don't know how else to say that, but wellness ladies, show up. Just show up. Okay. So with that, my little lecture piece, I mean, it's going to come down to Cassandra and Giselle, right? So, and they're both already qualified. We have Cassandra here. Cassandra just won the Vancouver, but she was already qualified. I'm getting there. Okay. Yeah. She was already qualified because she won the Arnold. So, she placed top 4 at the Olympia. She missed qualifying at the Olympia by 1 spot. Top 3 where you qualify, top 4 do not. So, yeah, you got to think about it from the promoter standpoint. At the end of the day, guys, if they don't have enough competitors there that are going to give them a return on their money, ticket sales, things like that, they're not going to spend the sanction fees. They're not going to do it, right? I wouldn't invest in a division that I know isn't going to bring me a return. I wouldn't do it. It's stupid. It's throwing money away, right? So that's the real life shit right here, you guys. It's real life. Okay. So going back to this, so Cassandra is qualified. She's qualified 2 times over. Shop already dropped wellness for that reason. Yeah, the shop gym, they had it for their TSG events. They had it for their shows, and they dropped it because nobody showed up. I mean, I would too. Frankly, that's the real life. That's the real life situation. If you're not bringing money in, you're an expense. That's it, right? So anyway, going back to Cassandra, she is already qualified. She won the Arnold. She also won Vancouver. She would be the favorite to win here, right? But she has not stood up next to Giselle, who would be probably second in line. She's not stood up next to Giselle since the Olympia. She did beat Giselle at the Olympia, but I don't know why I brought up her old picture, but Giselle has qualified. Giselle won, what was the last show that she just won? Somebody tell me the show. I can't remember. She just won it a couple weeks ago. And she did look better, right? She looked better at that show. She looked rounder, all of those kinds of things. So, it's going to be a tight race between Giselle and Cassandra, but they're both already qualified for the Olympia, both of them. Okay. Personally, just based on what I've seen, I would go with Cassandra. I like Cassandra a little bit better. I think Giselle's a little bit too big. I think she's a little bit too conditioned. The package that Cassandra brought into Vancouver, I thought was probably her best package that I've seen. So I would hedge my bets towards Cassandra, and I would hope that it would go that direction if that's the package that she brings. But it's going to be tight between the two of them. It's going to be tight between the two of them. Then beyond that, we have a few girls that may make a little bit of noise. We'll get in that top 5, that kind of thing. Like Lily Dong is one of them. She's a little bit undersized. I actually, think she looks pretty damn good, but again, she's a little bit undersized. And especially when she's going to be standing up next to Giselle and to Cassandra, she's definitely going to look a little undersized. So, I could see her being in the top 5. I don't know how close to that top 2 placing she's going to get because of being a little bit smaller, but we'll see. We'll see what she does. And then we have Jennifer Solaris, or what is it? Scarborough, Zolar, whatever. Jenny Sachs. There you go. We have her, who has placed second several times. Again, her physique is a little bit too conditioned. She doesn't have quite enough glutes. She has more, in my opinion, more of a figure frame than a wellness frame personally. So I don't see her getting into the top 2. I don't see her winning this, which she needs to do in order to qualify for the Olympia. There is no point system anymore. It is just winning a show. So I don't see her beating Cassandra or Giselle. Maybe third, maybe. But we'll see. We'll see what she looks like. But outside of that, I mean, it's really anybody's game for the rest of that top 5. There's a few girls in here that have placed top 5s, things like that. But again, that doesn't mean a whole lot at this point because there's only been 4 or 5 girls showing up to every show. So if you show up, you place top 5, congratulations. So, I mean, that's, again, I'm being real here. We need to see something happen with this division because if it doesn't, it's going to die off just as quickly as it started. So just keep that in mind, you guys. I'll keep covering it and I'll keep showing it, but you're probably going to start seeing a decline if something doesn't happen pretty quickly here, right? We need to start getting these numbers up. So I don't know what else to tell you. Don't know what else to say here. That's just the reality of the situation. If you're not bringing in money, you are going to get axed. Boom. So, well. Anyway, on to happier topics. Bikini is stacked. And you guys know, if you've been around me for any period of time, you know that I hate the word stacked, but this is a stacked lineup. This is a stacked lineup. So here's the deal, guys. I've said this 1,000 times, and I'm going to say it again. You can't qualify on points this year. You got to qualify on a win. So what that means is that you are going to see these girls coming out guns blazing. Okay? Guns blazing. When we look at this list, there are more girls on this list that have been in the Olympia than have not. There are more girls on this list that have been in the top placings at the Olympia than have not. And this is what we are going to see from now until the Olympia. Because you got to remember, we had 70 girls that qualified for the Olympia last year. And we don't have that many pro shows this year. Right? We don't have that many pro shows this year. So what's going to happen is you're going to see all of these girls coming out here trying to win these shows. And here's the thing, they're going up against girls who are already qualified. So just look at this list, you guys. So let's see, we've got Olympian, 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 Olympian. Like Olympian, like all of these girls I just named, they've all been to the Olympia, every one of them. And a lot of them are already qualified for the Olympia too. This is not going to be an easy year to get to the Olympia. And I believe that what's going to happen this weekend is we're going to have somebody who is already qualified for the Olympia win this show. So let's go through the ones that I pulled out. So first we have Vanya. Vanya has already qualified. I do believe that this was one of her best packages yet that she put up on stage at the Charlotte Pro that she won. Do I think she's going to be a top contender here at this particular show? Maybe. I think she could be top 5. But winning it, no, I don't see her winning it, but I could see her top 5, right? What are your thoughts on the strategy for the girls who are already qualified and still competing? I mean, I saw this last week. No, I think that they should keep competing. They're trying to get in front of the best judges. They're trying to refine their look. I know these girls that are already qualified are trying to get into the top 10 and the top 5 at the Olympia. The only way that you do that is by getting better. So keep competing, right? And they're not competing a lot. If they're still winning and they're refining their look, keep going, right? So that's Vanya right here, right? Vanya has gone to the Olympia already. She's gone twice. She wants to move up. So the only way that she's going to be able to do that is by improving her look and getting up against tougher competitors. Winning these little, and I hate to say it, dinky ass shows, but winning little Charlotte Cup Pro shows, that's cool. It's a huge accomplishment. Don't get me wrong, but she's already been there, done that. Now she wants to move up. You know, she wants to get into that top 10. And the only way that she's going to do that, get into the top 10 at the Olympia, is by putting herself up against these tough competitors that have been there. So go for it, right? Now, again, I don't know where Vanya will land. And the main reason why I say this is just because of how deep this lineup is. Any other pro show, I'd be like, yeah, she'd be top 5, no problem. But I don't know. She could very well be out of the top 5 here. She may be as high as top 3. She could be as high as top 3. You know, I don't see her in the top 2. I could see her in the top 3. I could see her in the top 5. And I could see her outside of the top 5. It's just going to be a matter of how everybody comes in. Okay? So, again, she's already qualified, but she's doing a smart thing by putting herself up against a tougher competition so that she can get better going into the Olympia. Next up, we have Romina. Again, top contender right here. Romina has been in the top at the Olympia. She was just in the top 10 this past year. She's already qualified for the Olympia. She already won a show. She just won Girl Power. So she's already qualified. But you can tell Romina wants to get into that top 5 again. She wants to be doesn't want to be in the top 10 anymore. She wants to be in the top 5. So she's putting herself up here. She could very easily here be in the top 2. She could definitely be in the top 2. I don't see her falling outside of the top 5. Maybe top 3, but I can definitely see her in the top 5 here. Winning, possible. It's possible that she could win this. It is possible that she could win this. If I was a betting woman, I would say she's probably top 3. That's what I would say. But again, she's coming back so that she can put herself up against these top contenders so that she can be a top contender at the Olympia, right? You want to win these types of shows. You want to win these types of shows, right? Okay. Next one is Amy. Amy's on a tear with 2 wins. She is qualified. She placed top 6 at the Olympia this year. She's just been getting better since then. She obviously wants to be up in the top 5 at the Olympia this year. And the only way to do that is to prove that she can hang up in the top 5. If she brings this package right here, I could see her winning. I could see her winning this show. And if she does win this show, this is going to set her up for huge success going into the Olympia. Huge. Right? I don't see her outside the top 2. I think she will be in the top 2, and I think she could potentially win this. So she's definitely one to be watching. Again, she's already qualified. She already was in the top 10 this past year. So now her goal, obviously, is to move up. Okay? So she's doing everything she can to do that right now. Okay? As you can see, this is a deep lineup. So, next one up is Malou. So Malou has not qualified for the Olympia yet, but I bring her up because she placed well with her show back, right? She placed in the top 5. So I brought her up because I think she could definitely come in a little bit better this show and potentially be up in the top 5. Again, I don't see her winning it, but I could see her potentially being up in the top 5. So maybe. More than likely, I see her like first call out, but probably more like 6 through 8, somewhere in that range. That's where I see her landing. But stranger things have happened. She may end up in that top 5, right? So I wanted to bring her up just as someone to be paying attention to as well. Next up, we have Valeria. So this girl right here took the European show circuit by storm last year. Incredible look, physique, all of that. Came into the Olympia, and it was a wah-wah moment at the Olympia because she was way too hard, way too lean, and all of her presentation details were way off. So she's coming now to the States. I've talked about this before too. If you are a European competitor and you want to do well when you get to the Olympia, you got to compete here. You have to compete in front of the top competitors, and you have to compete in front of the top Olympia judges, which is what she's doing. So what do I think is going to happen with her here? I don't know. She's the wild card here. If she's been paying attention and she's been doing her homework, hopefully she'll come in a little bit softer. She'll have fixed her presentation details with like the dangly bracelet and the gold jewelry and all this kind of stuff. Hopefully, she will have fixed those things. I mean, I would think if you're flying all the way over here to Pittsburgh to compete from Europe, that you're paying attention, right? I would think. But she didn't do that going into the Olympia, so who knows? Maybe she isn't. Maybe she isn't paying attention, right? I don't know. We'll see. So we'll see what happens. She's a wild card here. Don't see her winning it. But if she comes in with all those things fixed, maybe a top 5. Maybe. Because she is an Olympian. She has, 2-3 wins under her belt from Europe. So anything is possible. Anything is possible right here. Okay? So we'll see. Next up, we have Brittany. So Brittany Hamilton is a previous Olympian. She has not won a show yet this year, but she was top 5. So she's somebody to be looking at as well. Again, another one that I don't see winning the show, but could be a top 5er. She's a little off the Charlotte Pro. Needs to fix a few things. But I think she could compare pretty well to Valara, whatever. Val, whatever her name is. I think she could compare to her pretty well. So we'll see. We'll see how this plays out. Again, I could see her potentially in the top 5. Again, not winning it, but top 5 potentially. But again, probably towards the end of the first call out is what I'm thinking. And I think first call out will be 8 girls. So probably towards the end of first call out is more realistic. But we'll see. She's another one. Again, previous Olympian. Y'all getting this yet? I mean, this is a deep show. This is a deep show. Okay. All right. And then we got Ashley. So Ashley Kaltwasser obviously would be your front runner coming into this. Okay. Her last show was the Arnold. Right? Anytime she comes into a show that's not an Olympia or not an Arnold, she is the front runner, period. She is the front runner. But she's been off stage for a little bit. For her, this is a long period of time. For her, this is a long period of time for her to be off stage, right? So I'm curious to see what she's done to improve her physique since March, really. Again, she would be the one that would be the front runner just based on placings. But I do think that Amy is going to give her a run for her money. I don't think that Ashley has this in the bag. Ashley is beatable. She is beatable. As much as she has a lot of wins under her belt, she's definitely beatable. She's definitely not unstoppable. Okay. And again, Amy's been on a tear with these shows. So it's very possible that Amy can come in and dethrone her. I do believe we're going to see Ashley and Amy in the top 2. I think that's going to be your top 2. How it falls, I think it's going to be based on how they come in that day. Whoever comes in best that day is the one who's going to take the title. That's my 2 cents. Okay. That's what I think is going to happen. Hey, I could be completely wrong and somebody could come out and completely shock all of us. Definitely has happened in the past. But if I was a betting woman, this is the direction I would go. Okay. So we're not done. We have Priscilla. Now I brought Priscilla up. She's not been doing fantastic this year, but she, again, is another previous Olympian. So you can't count her out. I still think that her body is just too unbalanced. Now I know she needs to condition her lower half, and that's been kind of the buzz as far as her feedback and stuff like that's concerned. But I still think that her physique is just unbalanced. So I don't think she's going to stand up very well at this particular show. I do think she's going to kind of get crushed. But I believe she's won this show in the past. So that gives her a little bit of momentum right there, just a little. I just think she's probably going to be outmatched here. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. I see her probably being outside of all of these girls that I'm talking about already. But we'll see. It is very possible that she comes in a little bit tighter and she moves up. Again, I don't think she's going to win it. But who knows? We'll see. We'll see. I don't think she's going to win it, but we'll see. Let's see here. And I pulled up Lexus because, again, she's a previous Olympian and she hasn't been on stage for, almost a year at this point. But, again, I brought her up because she has gone to the Olympia in the past. So I'm curious to see what she looks like now. I believe she has a new coach and everything like that she's working with. So I'm just curious to see what her package is. Again, just based on previous showings and placings, I don't see her in the top 5. But again, she's won a show in the past, so it's very possible that she comes back looking phenomenal. She's got amazing ratios, so it's phenomenal. It could be that she comes back and just blows everybody out of the water. She's another one that kind of likened towards like Rihanna. She's got those same kind of proportions, that same kind of look. She just needs to nail it when it comes to her overall shape and her conditioning and everything. So if she does that, she could very well upset a lot of people. It could end up getting up into the top 5, but we'll see. We'll see. I brought her up though, because again, she's a previous Olympian as well. And then we have Jessica Wilson. So again, Jessica just came off 2nd place next to Amy. 2-time Olympian, has won several big shows, has won the Chicago Pro, all of that. So she's another one that we have to look at. She's done well in Pittsburgh before. She's placed top 5 at Pittsburgh before. So this is not something that she's not used to. I can see her in the top 5 here. I could see her potentially in the top 3. She's kind of that one that could come in and just upset a lot of people as well. So if you notice here, there's a theme. There's a theme here where all of these girls are potential threats if they come in at their best. And if you've noticed, as we've been paying attention to these shows, they've all been coming in better and better and better every week. Every week they've been coming in better because they know they have to win a show. They have to win a show to get to the Olympia. You can't just collect points anymore. Right? Yeah. Yeah, Jess has amazing stage presence and flow and beauty and all of that. She's got it all, right? So, I mean, it's just I know I said I think it's going to come down to Amy and Ashley. And I think that Amy could potentially pull up the upset and she could end up pulling out the win. But it really could be anybody's game. It really could be anybody's game. Right? This is no joke, you guys. This is no joke for this lineup. So with that, I also want to mention, and I've said this a few times in the past as well, I think they need to bring the point system back. As much as I'm not a fan of the points, I actually think that it's hurting participation in these shows. As much as I'm not a fan of, girls running the gamut in order to qualify, I do think that there's a piece of that encourages girls to get on stage to collect points, and we'd see more pros showing up, right? And the reason why I say that is because this particular show has 16, 17, I don't remember. Let me pull up the list. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So there's 17 pros for bikini, which is a good size lineup. But last year there was 30. Last year there's 30 girls at this show. So it's cut in half. And again, going back to what we were talking about with wellness, if you don't have people show up, you don't have people buying tickets, you don't have people buying a live stream if their favorite athletes aren't showing up. People buy tickets to see the athletes they want to see. And if those athletes aren't showing up, guess what? They're not buying tickets. So from a business standpoint, yep, encouragement, enrollment, yep, absolutely. Yeah, there's the muscle contest show with 20 bikini pros. Absolutely. There is. Yep. But this was the case last year too. I believe there was another show the same weekend as Pittsburgh too, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But if you notice, and again, I haven't actually looked at that list a lot, but it's not big names or anything like that either. If you notice the big names, the big names are showing up here. But across the board, this is the case. Across the board, there's less pros competing in every division, in every show. So I really think part of that is because of the fact there are no points. It kind of created another storyline with the year. It created another sense of excitement for, younger pros to come out and kind of make a name for themselves. So I think that having the point system, again, as much as I'm not a huge fan of qualifying on points, I think it drives like I said, almost like a plot B, a subplot for the year. So I just, it just makes it more exciting. When you get towards the end of the year, you start cheering for these girls that are getting so close and they keep competing. You know what I mean? You start rooting for them. And this is across the board in every division, not just the bikini. It's every division. So I just think it creates a subplot that a lot of us can relate to, going for the underdog, because a lot of times you go into these shows and again, you've got these big dogs coming in. Everybody wants to root for the underdog. Everybody wants to root for that person that hasn't won yet. Right. So, having the point system allows us to root for those people. Right. And hope that they get in. And it makes them want to push more, makes them want to do more shows, makes us want to watch more shows, right? So I think that was kind of a misstep as far as the business move is concerned, taking the point system out. So, no, I don't. And to Mia's point, Maya, To that point, no, I don't believe so. I believe it has to do with the point system. I mean, I think that what we're seeing now is, again, I going back to and taking it back to the wellness side, because the wellness is really more apparent than it is in bikini. But on the wellness side, you're only seeing girls come out that feel like they can win a show because they don't even have the option of qualifying on points. And I think it's really affecting the wellness division probably the most. I think it's affecting every division, but I think it's probably affecting the wellness division the most, because it doesn't give you any kind of hope outside of that top spot. And going into Pittsburgh that you're going to get girls that are going to Pittsburgh that are top Olympians, so that's going to happen. So why put yourself through that stress and expense and time and energy and money to know you're not going to qualify? So yeah, I think again, going back to I just think this was not really thought through enough with the point system. A lot of times I think what happens is people see it on the surface level and they see, well, if we have the point system, then we have to qualify 3 more people per division. That's 3 more expenses of flights and things like that we have to pay for. What they don't realize is that throughout the year, that encourages people to come and compete in the shows all year long. And that creates far more revenue than what the expense actually is. It gives girls and guys hope to qualify. It gives them hope to qualify for the shows. And again, what that does is that makes them come back for more. Yeah, girls will spend a significant time to come back and win first. That's right. Yep. So again, that's why we're saying, like, we're looking at the top competitors coming out, which makes sense. Like I said, it makes sense why they're coming out. They got to qualify for the Olympia, and they will. And if they already have, then they're getting the feedback so they can move up, which all of that's great. But like I said, Lana, you're a good example of somebody that just comes in as a newbie and starts getting noticed. It keeps you motivated to keep coming back. Keeps you motivated, right? So the expense factor is big, sure is. When there's no reward, when you don't have the ability to win a show, why are you going to spend the money? Not just the money, but the time and the effort too. It's no joke, right? It's no joke. I kind of like that Pittsburgh and New York is back to back. I kind of like that. For my schedule personally, it works better. I'm just going to say it works so I can go to both, because usually I can't go to both. I did last year because I competed in New York, but that's typically not the case. Typically, I have to pick one or the other. But I'm not an athlete. In these shows, I'm just going. Hate to say, but it'll also eliminate the weak. Not a bad thing. Those who lose hope won't stay in. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like the ones who are weak will not continue to come back, which I understand that you want to have the best, but also that eliminates people, that eliminates actual athletes, and it eliminates fans, right? It eliminates people that are coming to the shows to watch those athletes, right? My parents will come if I'm competing. That's a very small, minute example, but my parents will come if I'm competing. If I'm not, they won't. And that's the scenario across the board. If you have fans and you're competing, they're going to come. If you're not competing, they're not going to come. They're not going to buy the live stream. They don't care. They're there for you. So the less athletes that you have, the less fans that you have, the less ticket sales, the less money. I mean, it's not hard math. It's not difficult math, Yeah, so as a new pro, like you said, getting on stage this season, I likely won't win, but I can stand amongst these Olympians. Yeah, and I get that, and I understand that. There's that aspect to it too. I did that last year, right? Coming back, I came in and I did New York, and the reason I did that is because I wanted to stand up next to the top pros so I could see where my physique fit. But guess what I didn't do? I didn't keep competing. I got off stage and I went to go make improvements. And guess what? There's a reason why I'm not getting back on stage again until probably the end of the year, because I know where my physique is. And I know it won't stand up next to these girls that are placing top 5 in the Olympia. So why am I going to go compete? There's no point. There is 0 point for me to go compete right now because it's not going to do me any good. I did that last year. I saw where my physique was last year and I saw how I fit. Now I got to be strategic and pick places where I could potentially get noticed. It's different, right? So it's cool to be able to stand next to the Olympians, but you do that in every show. Regardless of what show you go into, you're going to be standing next to an Olympian. It's going to happen. I mean, there's a lot of them, you know? Again, it goes back to dollars and cents. It doesn't make sense to make that window smaller for athletes. It doesn't make sense. It makes a lot more sense to give people more opportunities. And if you're looking at it short-sighted, you see the expense of the Olympia ticket and flight and per diem and all that stuff. But in the immediate term right now, it creates more ticket sales. It creates more fans. It creates a better storyline. It creates more excitement. All of those things. To those who may be listening, bring the point system back. Again, I don't like the point system. You know, I've said that before. I'm not a huge fan of that as far as I think, you know, win a show, then you get into the Olympia. I get it. I understand all that. I understand that elitist mentality. I get all of that. It eliminates the weak. I understand all of that. I do. And there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that makes complete and total sense. But when you look at it from a business standpoint, you look at it from the dollars and cents standpoint, it does not make sense. It makes sense to give people more opportunity. It gives people hope that I might potentially get in, right, to the cool kids club. It keeps people coming back. But what do I know? I'm just a dumb bikini chick. What do I know? People need to consult me before they make decisions. I'll give out my services for consults. Oh God. Yeah, dollars and cents. It makes more dollars and cents to have more competitors. It just does. It just does. You know, I mean, take the exact same model that you've got at these national shows where you qualify 2 people per class for a pro card. Take that exact same mentality and put it into the pro league. Boom, done. You got to dangle a carrot for people that want to come after it. There's no carrot. I mean, it's just true. You know, got to give people hope. If they don't have hope, they're not going to show up. Yep, it's a business. 100% should be run as a business. Yep. Qualify everybody to go to the freaking nationals. They do. They qualify everybody to go to nationals. They qualify everybody to go to nationals, right? Gets a little bit more restrictive going up to the pro league. Well, a lot more restrictive. A little bit more restrictive to go up to the pro league. And it should get more restrictive to go up to the Olympia. I get that. I understand that. But again, you're just dangling this carrot of 3 more people. That's not a huge ask. But it keeps people invested. It keeps people coming back. Anyway, I beat that horse to death. Hopefully somebody will hear it, right? Yep. Yeah, I mean, just take the exact same model that you got in the NPC and bring it up to the pro league. It's really not that hard. Shit, freaking, I don't know, 5-10 years ago, I was talking about we should have height classes in the IFBB. You should. I brought that idea up too. Didn't happen, but I brought it up. The argument was, well, you got to give out more prize money. How do you give out the Olympia qualification? It's real simple. In the pro league, you have 3 height classes, A, B, and C. Whoever wins the height classes go against each other for the overall. Whoever wins the overall gets the Olympia qualification. The other girls get points and gets checks. Ta-da! Done. Height classes in the pro league. I just did it. I just solved the problem. mean, somebody come talk to me. I got these ideas just sitting right here. I'll give them all to you. All of them. I just gave them to the world on YouTube. Oh, Lordy. Anyway. So, yeah, and like I said at the beginning of this, if I have a chance, I will, if I'm able to last tomorrow night, it depends on how my packing and all my day goes tomorrow for leaving for Pittsburgh. Then I will preview the muscle contest show. I'm just not doing it yet because we had a lot to tonight. And I got to leave first thing in the morning on Thursday. So you guys, I'm just sitting over here. I've made my opinions known. Anybody want to listen to me? I'm here. I'll tell you all of them. And on that note, I will be in Pittsburgh. So, if they want to come talk to me, I'm more than willing. I'm more than willing to give you all of my brainchild ideas, all of them. Right? I be knowing. That's right. Exactly. I do. Yeah. So my mug is, I can't even remember it now that I'm thinking about it. It's like, sorry for having great tits and correct opinions all the time. Something along that line. But that's exactly it. That's me in a nutshell. Whatever. And because of that, you should follow my Spotify channel too. Right here. Scan that QR code to get to my Spotify. Because I will be covering Pittsburgh and I will be covering New York through my commentary, sitting in the audience. Okay. And girls, I see some of you on here that are going to be competing in the next two shows. I'm going to find you at check-ins to do interviews. So I'm going to do interviews too, just like I did at the Arnold's at the meet and greet. I'm going to do the same thing at Pittsburgh and New York. So if you are competing in either of those shows, come find me. Give me your ideas. Let's make some trouble on Spotify. Let's stir the pot. Stir the pot. Get this freaking crap moving in the right direction, man. Just saying. I be knowing. Oh, Lord. It's okay. Like I said, I got my ideas right here. All right. Anything else you all want to add before I log off for tonight? I didn't mean to go onto a whole rant, but that's kind of the direction that this whole thing went. So it is what it is. It's been kind of brewing. Can you tell? It's been kind of brewing. I needed to get it out. I needed to get it all out. Anything else you guys want to add before I close out for tonight? And as we close out too, I do still have one makeup and hair spot available for Pittsburgh. Contact me if you need anything for glam for the Pittsburgh and for New York. What else? Now I'll be there all weekend for both shows. So I plan on hitting up all you ladies that are on here, getting interviews, getting your 2 cents, getting your thoughts. We'll still go live as much as possible. I will be going on my Spotify channel for most everything while I'm gone. And that's it. That's it. It's gonna be a good show. I'm excited to see how the show goes down. I absolutely am. I'm curious to see how the whole thing's gonna play out. And then I'm really excited for New York next week too. So with that, I hope you guys all have a fantastic evening. Yeah, have a good night. And we'll see you back here live maybe tomorrow. If not, then we'll see you in Pittsburgh. All right. Follow my Spotify if you haven't already, right there, so that you can get updated on the commentary. And I will see you guys in Pittsburgh. Okay? Good night, you guys.